Be you.
Huh? I'll be me.
All right, very good. All right, I will call our meeting to order. All right, if everyone will please join me in standing and stating our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thank you. All right, Tina, if you would please call the roll.
Mayor Young,
Present.
Vice Mayor Wilcox.
Present.
Commissioner Greenlee,
Present.
Commissioner Murphy,
Present.
Commissioner Slattery.
Present.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tina. Okay, at this time, we are going to enter into our new business. Our City Manager, Mark Westhoff, will be talking to us about Resolution Number 3424, which is a resolution of the City of Atchison, Kansas, regarding the governing body's intent to levy a property tax exceeding the revenue-neutral rate and setting a public hearing. So again, just for everyone, we are setting the actual public hearing today. Mr. Westhoff.
Okay, so the purpose of this meeting is defined in state law that every taxing entity, for the most part in the state, holds this meeting in order to set a public hearing. So there's really two purposes for this part of the meeting. The first is to set a self-imposed ceiling on this budget process. So this is kind of the first step of the official public budgeting process for the city. So we first set, based on feedback from the commissioners and from city staff, we set a self-imposed ceiling on our budgeting process over the next month and a half. The proposed ceiling that staff put together tonight is 49.125 mils. If that ceiling is over the revenue neutral rate as set by the state, then we need to have a public hearing to hear the public about that issue. So then the second part of this meeting is to set that public hearing, which is generally set for the same night that then you have the public hearing for the overall final budget. So two things to remember is first, that cap number that we're setting tonight is not the final budget number. We are self-imposing a limit to ensure that we can't go beyond that in our budgeting process. And so then city staff and the commissioners endeavor to, keep the final mill levy rate well below that ceiling. The ceiling is there on our side. We set that above what maybe our best and final budget will be, in part because we still have 6+ weeks of this process. We're looking into all aspects of the budget, hoping that, we can come in well under that, but leaving ourselves some room to make sure the city is solvent and safe in the budgeting process. So those are the two main parts of the meeting tonight. Setting that self-imposed cap, which is not the final budget number, and setting the public hearing for what will be that final budget number. We are proposing that cap at 49.125 mils and setting the public hearing for, I think we put September 8th. Yes, September 8th, 2025 at 4:30 p.m. So then that would be the revenue neutral rate public hearing, followed immediately by the budget approval, final budget approval public hearing as well. So they kind of go back to back usually. So that's the basics of this resolution. If you would like, I can talk a little bit about property taxes in general, the revenue neutral rate specifically, because it's a little confusing where that number comes from, how it's calculated, and then kind of where the city stands in comparison to the other taxing entities for city residents.
Yes, I would appreciate
Okay.
that you do so, and I assume that you're going to be starting
Yes.
with this one-pager.
Yes.
And for those of you in the seating area, that you will be able to see on the monitor.
We also have some printouts.
Do you have
over here.
printouts? Okay.
Yeah. So in general, property tax, a resident's property tax bill in the city of Atchison is based on the appraised value of their property times the assessment rate, and then all of that times the mill levy rate. The appraised value of a property is set by the county appraiser, not a city function, it's set by the county. They use formulas to determine the market value of a property. These are the valuations you get in the mail. Sometimes, in the last few years, they've been 10, 9+%. Again, their formulas are based on the condition of the property, the location of the property, and comparative sales of similar properties in the same location and quality. So then that is the appraised value. To get to the assessed value, you multiply the appraised value by the state assessment rate. For residential in the state of Kansas, it is 11.5%. That is set by the state legislature. So we have no say over that variable either. So then when you take your appraised value times that 11.5%, the assessed value is the actual value of your property that is taxable by any taxing entity, the state, the city, the county, school districts, and on. So then the final piece of the puzzle is the mill levy rate. This is controlled by local taxing entities. The city is one, the county, school district, the recreation commission. If there are any other taxing districts that your property is part of, like a water district or a fire district, they set a mill levy as well. So then a mill is equal to $1 for every $1,000 of assessed value. So 1 mill and $1,000 in value is $1. If 1 mill and $100,000 in value is $100, or sorry, $10. The revenue neutral rate is the mill levy rate for each taxing entity. It's all different. That would bring in the exact same amount of tax revenue as the previous year. Because of the other variables, specifically the value of the homes and properties, this number changes. So this year, the city's mill levy is 47 mills, but our revenue neutral rate is less than that because values went up this year. So values go up, so generally speaking, the mill levy comes down, the revenue neutral rate levy comes down, because you don't need to charge as high of a mill to get the same amount of money. That can change if, for instance, you get a lot new taxpayers in the tax pool. So if a bunch of new homes are built, or other entities come online that weren't online before, that can mean that even though values go up, the revenue neutral rate stays the same or goes up. This year, it is going down again, but not as much as previous years. So the revenue neutral rate is it's really more important than our current mill levy for the city budgeting process and for figuring out what people's tax rate will be next year. The revenue neutral rate for 2026 for the city is estimated to be around 44.865 mills. So if the city sets a budget that results in 44.865 mills, then we would be revenue neutral. We would bring in the exact same amount of revenue as we did this year, next year. A couple notes, 2 years ago, the city was revenue neutral. Now, that might surprise some people in the city because their tax bills still went up that year. And that's because the city is only part of your tax pie in Atchison. This year, the city is about 25% of the final property tax bill for most taxpayers in the city of Atchison. Varies a little bit if you're part of any other kind of district. There's not too many of those in the city, but there are some. Generally speaking, the city is this year 25% of the tax bill. The county is around 34%, school district is around 32%, the library is 5%, the Recreation Commission is 2%, and the state collects 1%. They have 1.5 mil every year. So just a couple notes is historically, because of that, the city's mill levy has been falling every year because of the revenue neutral rate falling. If you go back through time, in 2020, in 2020, the city was about 30% of the overall property tax bill for a resident in the city. It was 30% again in 2021. In 2022, it was 29%. In 2023, 27%. And then the current tax year, which is 2024 tax valuations collected in 2025, we're down to 25%. Can go to the next one too. Part of that is because the city, like I said, a couple years ago, we actually were revenue neutral. Last year, we increased the city's revenue, property taxes by 2%. But the other taxing entities, have a say as well. If you look at these charts here, you can see that over time, the city's mill levy, which is the top chart, has come down as the revenue neutral rate has dropped. And again, one of those years we were fully revenue neutral. Other years it was a small percent increase, still resulting in the mill levy coming down. The other taxing entities have stayed more similar to what they were collecting 5 years ago in terms of mills. So again, it's not to call out the other taxing entities in the city. Simply wanted to show the city commission as well as anyone watching that the city has been trying and continues to try to keep property tax increases either non-existent or very reasonable for our share of the tax bill. So.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate that. At this point, are there any questions? I would like for you to go over one more time where we are going, or where the suggestion is, I should say, where the suggestion is, which is...
For the ceiling?
Yes, for the ceiling.
49.125. So that is a slightly over 4 mils over the revenue neutral rate for next year. Again, not our target final budget number. It is the fail-safe if in the next 6 weeks, for some reason, things go sideways. Our goal is to keep under 2 mils, right around 2 mils or just under for the actual final budget. But obviously, ultimately, it's up to the city commission to approve that final budget. So we will continue to have workshops and meetings to try to get to that point.
Okay, I see. Commissioners, do you have questions?
Yes.
Our revenue neutral rate is 44.865,
Correct.
and our current mill rate is 40.
7.097.
So we're going to have, this is what perturbs a lot of folks. We're going to raise our mill levy. The value of a mill is higher. So that's a double whammy for the taxpayer.
We are not intending, again, this is the ceiling. So if we end up hitting that ceiling in the budgeting process, then yes, the mill levy would go up. But it is the intention of city staff, based on feedback we got from the city commission and previous budget workshops, to go below that 47.
So last year we set above it, and then we ended up below that.
The ceiling?
Yes.
Yeah, well, you have to.
Yeah.
You have to end up below
we were
it.
concerned-
But we ended up below,
The revenue neutral rate, you mean?
No, not the
no,
revenue.
No.
the
the ceiling.
existing,
Okay.
yeah.
Yep. So in other words, what you're saying is, and again, this is going to happen on September 8th.
as currently worded, yes. I mean, until
Okay.
you approve
Okay,
it,
so-
it's not set yet.
Okay, so just for clarity, what we're talking about is a hearing that we're going to be setting for September 8th at 4:30. We're talking about our ceiling. And
Today,
so-
setting the
Today, we're
ceiling.
talking about our ceiling.
Yes.
And currently, could you repeat what a mill is? Because you said 1 mill equals,
$1 per $1,000 of assessed value.
okay, all right.
So, and that's the assessed value, not,
Right.
so, or sorry,
Okay.
it is actually appraised value.
The
Yeah.
proposed rate. Okay, all right, very good. Any other
So
questions?
given your
Yeah.
sample below, if you raise the mill levy 2 mil, you would be raising property taxes about $46 per $100,000.
Yes, correct.
$100,000 home, you're going to pay $46 more than you did a year ago.
No, yes, that's correct, yeah.
$400,000 home, you're going to be paying about $100,
More per year,
$200 more.
per year.
Per year.
Yes.
Are you taking into account the assessed value in that?
Yes, so
Okay.
because of the value of a mill, the benefit of doing it that way, it's a little confusing, but the benefit of doing it as a mill is that you can say something like this, which is that 1 mill increase over the revenue neutral rate is always, as long as the assessment rate from the state is 11.5%, that 1 mill increase over the revenue neutral rate is always going to be $23 per $100,000 value on your property. So
$3.
if you own a home that's what's up?
Sorry, I just wanted a $100,000 house has got about a $11,000 list value.
11,500,
So
yes.
it wouldn't be $200 a year, it'd be closer to like 20, right?
No, no. So I'm looking at appraised value here, not assessed value. So I may have done that
But the mills.
incorrect up here.
That's correct.
Yes. Yeah, but I've already done that math in here. So the $100,000 times 11.5% is 11,500. So 11,500 times 1 mil is 11.5. So, yeah, I'm sorry, that should have been, a 2 mil increase is $23. Yeah, I did that wrong, sorry. So,
So then,
Right.
on note down at the bottom, it should say, this means that a 2 mil increase over the revenue neutral rate amounts to $23? Is that what we're saying?
yes,
Okay.
right? Yeah,
Appraised value.
I have,
per $100,000 of actual value of your property, yes, I apologize.
That's okay.
So we just need to change that 1 to 2.
On the bottom of the sheet,
Yeah.
I'm
yes.
sorry, I missed that, yeah. Yeah.
the value
I thought 1 mil, that's
of
what
a
I thought it
mill
was.
Yeah.
for 2026 is going to be $108,961.
That's projected, yes.
Projected, okay. 6 years ago, the value of a mill was $76,000.
Yes,
So not only are we having the number of mills that we're going to use go up,
that's incorrect. The number of mills that we're using, as I had on that chart, is going down every year for us, for the city. Because of exactly what you're saying. The value of the mill is going up,
and
so the number of mills we collect to
Goes down.
keep neutral goes down. That's the revenue neutral rate.
okay,
Sorry about that.
I'm just looking at this and the value of a mill,
Yes.
and all the assessed valuations are going up as well.
The appraised valuations are going up,
The
yes.
appraised values are going up.
Yes.
So, almost, I understand how it works, but it's utterly confusing to the average Joe Schmo on the street. They don't understand what a mill is, why we go by assessed valuations instead of actual valuations. And then when you see one entity raise the mills from 4.5 what was it, 4.5? But anyway, the rate is
That's-
going up.
Well, that's why I think it's most important to look at the revenue neutral rate number. Looking at the current year mill levy and next year's mill levy, it's confusing because the value of the mill has changed, which is why the state gives us this revenue neutral rate. That is a mill levy that takes into account exactly what you're saying, so that we know if the city or any other taxing entity sets the mill levy at that revenue neutral rate through the budgeting process, we will take in the exact same dollars as last year. So anything over the revenue neutral rate is what we're talking about at the bottom, where 1 mil over the revenue neutral rate results in more taxes collected because costs have gone up.
But the revenue neutral rate, and maybe I'm reading this wrong, it's really a smoke screen to make it look like the state of Kansas is trying to control property taxes. And we can have our meeting, we'll have our meeting on September 8th, and we can't change it on September 8th. Whatever we set our budget at, money-wise, we're going to have our mill levy meet those expenses.
Yeah, that's what all of these budget workshops are, and your feedback to us, we're cutting the budget to get to a number that you're comfortable
But
with.
the public's ability to come in September,
Yeah,
we can't change after that.
you can change it at that meeting. That's the point of that public hearing. You can take feedback at that meeting and either make your pitch for why you think that number's correct, or change it and vote differently in that meeting. That's the meeting where you can change it.
Yeah, that's a
I think it'd be
meeting.
helpful to the general public to mention how many budget meetings we've had leading to this meeting.
Sure. I mean, we've held 5 workshops overall, plus city staff have been working on the numbers since end of May. We've been putting together estimates. It's difficult in Kansas for the purpose of predicting. We have to do this process now when we have we have 6 months now of actuals for the year to try to predict, what next year's going to look like. Costs are changing very quickly. So if something happens, in the next few months, our budget might be set already for next year, and we have to figure out, how to deal with that change that happens. Because you can file an amended budget, but it is a certain process with the state.
Right, which is
Sorry,
why,
yeah.
go ahead, Bill.
One of the things that, we just had our survey done,
Correct.
and the things that the public was happy with and dissatisfied with.
Yes.
One of the things that the public, by the survey, if we're going to use it at all, was that property taxes are too high.
Yes.
And I can almost assure you that what we do here in the next month or so, we're going to raise taxes. So we're going to make everybody unhappy.
Well,
And
first of all, it's not guaranteed at all that we're going to raise taxes. I want to make that really clear. That is fully up to this commission, whether or not taxes are raised.
That's why I'm bringing it to a head that we're raising taxes on people who are tired of having their taxes raised.
Bill, we ain't doing that
All
tonight.
that
All we're doing tonight is setting a date.
they're setting the max
understand.
rate. So I'll give you an example of why this process, I'm a consultant, so I can speak pretty clearly. The state of Kansas has established this process where you have to set a maximum mill levy today. They don't have 6-month actuals. We have no idea what the health insurance renewal premium is going to be. They don't know what the property insurance renewal is going to be.
No,
Those
I
things have been going insane. So the state of Kansas, their required process is painting you into a box. Painting you into a box where they want to see what that max number is today. But there's dozens of variables that.
There's different ways to
we
do
don't
it.
know the answers to. And is that fair to anybody? No, but it is the process that we have to deal with.
Well, we did it last year, but we never did read
I
that.
agree.
We never used it all.
No, last year we did not get anywhere near the
We're
ceiling
not gonna use it all this year.
with the final
No, we
budget.
didn't use it all
Let's
last
make it
year.
clear that everybody in the state has the same issue.
Yeah, I don't know too
Nobody's
many.
just picking
No,
on
I
us.
understand that.
And we don't set the appraised rate of anything. The county appraiser does it. 2, we
And the
don't
market.
set the whatever the assessed value is going to be, that's set by the state.
But we do set.
The only thing that we control is how much are we going to spend?
Exactly.
And those are what we've done the last 4 or 5 meetings. What does the city, people also aren't going to be happy if they don't get any streets fixed. And that was another complaint that they had on the survey. We got to fix more streets. Well, if you don't have any money, you can't fix any streets. That's right. You want this or you want that? You know, you can't have both.
Well, our job is to find that balance.
Which is what we're doing in these meetings.
That's
And
all we're doing.
And that's all we're
But
doing
they-
tonight. And that's why Mark is going through this budget process for us, so that everyone can be clear and everyone can
I'm not
understand.
pointing fingers at anybody.
And we're not saying you are. We're
I'm
not
just
saying you are.
saying that the RNR thing is, to me, it's a hoax, because it really doesn't mean anything.
Well, it does, though. So here's why I want to explain this, if I can, for a
Yes,
second.
please.
The R&R actually makes the process clearer for the general public and for city staff. The R&R tells us, like I said, this mill levy will result in the same number of dollars collected. So it does matter in the sense of, even if you set this hearing for September 8th for revenue neutral rate, if we decide to stay revenue neutral, you don't actually have to have that hearing, even if you set the date today. So if you are increasing over revenue neutral rate, you must hold a public hearing to tell the public how much you are going to increase over revenue neutral and to get their feedback in a public hearing. If you ultimately do not go over revenue neutral, you can take that hearing off. You don't need it. So it does make a difference. It does make a difference in the process at the very least. And for me, it helps city staff and our process when we're budgeting, because again, that value of a mill changes every year with the values of homes. And so going into this process, we might look at 47 mills, which is the current city mill levy, and we think, great, we'll keep it at 47 mills. That sounds good. And then when the valuations come out, we find out we're actually increasing taxes by keeping the mill levy the same. So having that revenue neutral rate helps us know this is the number that we actually need to talk about. And again, in the past, using that number, in the last 5 years, the city has, I think, been very responsible, because in general, we were revenue neutral 2 years ago. In the change in years, the city did not collect any more taxes. Other taxing entities may have. The city did not. Last year, the city increased the tax collected by the city by 2%. The target this year, if we keep under 2 mills, it would be 3%.
3.5.
What's that?
3.5.
Well, that's it, yeah, based on the original numbers that we put together, but we can keep looking at that too. So this is the point of this. We have 6 more weeks to try to make the budget, again, reasonable and sufficient. Those are my 2 hallmarks for the city budgeting process. We want to be reasonable, but we also need to be sufficient to cover the needs of the city. And as we've put out bids over the last few months, we brought them to this commission, and you've seen the project costs going up sometimes 30% from what was projected before. So
I think, I don't remember which other commissioners were at the meeting with Representative Smith and their congressman. But at the state level, they're well aware that the assessed value rate and property taxes are one of the biggest issues in the state for everyone who owns any property. But they got to do something at that level before we can do a whole lot at this level, I think.
well, we're doing what we can at this level, and that's what I'm trying to project, is that we do control the final piece of the equation, and we're trying to do that responsibly. The state last year, the state legislature debated, I don't know, 12 different property tax changes, some of which staff looked at and thought would be very constrictive for our process and very difficult. Others we looked at and said this would be fine. You know, we can deal with that change. None of them passed. So the process this year is the exact same as last year, which is what I just outlined. If the state legislature next year changes the property tax process, limits, percentages, whatever it happens to be, this piece of paper, you can throw it in the trash and I'll create a new one. Because I mean, it can change that quickly, right? Yes.
I'm going to move that we adopt Resolution 3424.
All right, it's been moved that we adopt resolution number 3424, which is a resolution, again, here in the city of Atchison, Kansas, regarding the governing body's intent to levy, a property tax exceeding the revenue neutral rate and setting a public hearing. Again, we will just be setting a public hearing. Is there a second
I'll
to that?
second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded that we adopt resolution number 3424. As this is not a roll call vote, all those in favor, please state by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right, thank you. And thank you, Mark, for going through this. You've done a great job in terms of explaining appraised value, assessed value, the mill rate levy. I would encourage everyone who is here, please get a copy
get a
of this
copy of it.
one-pager.
Just correct the typo
Yeah,
at the
correct
bottom.
the typo at the end, the note, on note, it says, this means that and that should be a 2 mil. We will also have this up on our website, is that correct?
Yes, so I'll correct it and we'll put it up online on the city Facebook page as well as the website.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, very good, thank you very much, all right. Okay, all right, do we have any other questions? And I should say that this is not a hearing, but if there are folks who wish to address the commission, if we can keep that to 3 minutes, we appreciate your being here and being a part of the governing. So if anyone would like to have something to say at this point, we are open to that. Again, I would appreciate it. Let's please keep it to 3 minutes. Anyone? Yes, sir. And if you can state your name and your address, please.
Thomas Pennington at 508 North Fifth Street.
Yes.
I just wanted a clarification on your note there at the bottom. I know you said it's 2 mil. Increase over the revenue neutral rate.
Correct.
Is $23. Does that apply to every mill rate, or only once you get over the revenue neutral, does all of a sudden that mill value change a little bit?
No, the value is the
23?
same.
Okay.
So that's talking about your per property value.
Per
So
property value.
the mill value is looking at the whole city, right? So
Okay.
that's why it changes, because there's different taxpayers, more taxpayers, fewer taxpayers, depending on the year. But the calculation at the bottom there is sort of for your own personal property.
Right, okay.
To do a calculation on what would change if X happens.
Okay. I just want to make sure it wasn't like a sliding scale that it's worth $15 at this point, but once you hit revenue neutral, it goes to that 23. It's 23 throughout the
No, it's same.
throughout the mill. Okay, that was my only question. Thank you.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much, Mr. Pennington. Anyone else? Anyone else? Okay, if not, we thank you all for coming again. Everyone is welcome to our city commission meetings. I think it's very important that we have individuals be participants. I just want to reiterate that we certainly understand how difficult times are, and we know that you are stretching your dollar, and we are doing our best to do the same with our budget, because every amount of dollar and cents counts, every penny counts, and we just want you to know that. All right, we will go on to item number 2, Home in the Heartland Grant Application and Vendor Agreement, presented by Mr. Westhoff.
Okay, so we weren't planning to have any other agenda items on this special meeting. This one we went ahead and put on because of a deadline on the grant. Justin and I have met and discussed this, as well as a couple other members of staff. So in 2025, the state passed Senate Bill 125, which included all of their grant opportunities for the next handful of years. In that bill, they included $1.5 million in funding for what they call community talent recruitment grants. So basically, this money is meant to go to local governments to create incentive programs for residents to move to Kansas from out of state. They have a vendor that many cities in the state and elsewhere are working with called Make My Move. They're helping local governments apply for the grant, administer the funds, do the recruiting using their national platform, which is very well known, and then do all the reporting to the state of Kansas as well. So basically like a grant manager and administrator. Justin and I met with them a number of times. Basically the grant is 80-20, 80% from the state, 20% from the local government. The deadline for the application that Make My Move wants to put in is July 18th, which is why we wanted to have this meeting today.
Okay.
I will tell you that Justin and I are mixed on this. We like the idea of the grant. We like the idea of an incentive program to bring residents into the city. The proposal from Make My Move is with that, so it's $155,000 total. 80% of that comes from the state. 20%, which is $31,000, comes from the city. With that, it would bring in 10 new residents from out of state into the city. There's an ROI calculation showing, the amount of taxes that would increase, local economic development increasing by bringing in 10 families. Make My Move has, like I said, a large national platform. I have no doubt that they would be able to deliver on that 10 mover promise with this grant money. But a good portion of the grant money goes to them to use that platform to, do all of the work, the reporting, the administration of the grant on the city's behalf. Justin and I endeavored to consider, if we might put in an application for the city on our own for a certain amount of money from the state, based on kind of the conversation and the fact that many cities are applying right now for it. We felt like we didn't have the time to put that together adequately, which is why we were considering looking at the vendor to administer the grant and report everything. But I don't know if Justin wants to add anything else to it.
This is a really atypical situation. This is an uncommon program. I've been doing this a while. I'm not aware of the Kansas Treasurer's Office managing
Yep.
a grant program of any kind. I pride myself on keeping my ear to the ground about what opportunities there are and when to apply for them and how to maximize the leverage for outside funding for any local priorities. I take a lot of pride in doing that. I had no idea this existed until 10 days or 2 weeks ago, which is strange. I mean, I get every email from every state department that you can possibly get. That's what I do, is try to understand how those things are so we can create leverage in opportunities, things like CDBG grants, so we can afford to make a beautiful park at LFM, things like historic tax credits, all of the things. So this one is odd. It's also odd for the legislature to kind of create this, and it's just kind of a bizarre situation. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that there's very little information on the state treasurer's office website about it.
But there is information.
There is. It is
There is
real.
It's a legitimate thing. There is
Yes.
a link on their site to find it.
I got some gal in London who wants to send me $10.
This sure looks like.
Yeah, it's
There's an application, an
there.
official
I mean,
state
it'd take me
application.
about 45 seconds to read out the full list of everything that's there for you. So
Mm-hmm.
it's not a flushed out thing. There is not a specific deadline that's listed. But through our conversations with Make My Move, they have other clients in Kansas. And if just their clients apply and win the max, this money will be gone.
Maybe next week,
Yeah,
depending on
maybe
how
next
quickly
week.
Treasury
very,
moves.
very soon. So you might be asking yourself, like, that's a heavy administrative burden to pay an outside vendor. Why would we say yes to that? And my response to that is that we don't have time to put together what it would take to independently win. And I don't say that lightly. So I'll say it again. We don't have time to put together what it would take to independently win. So
I just.
I get the heartburn about it, I really do. If you want to say no, I don't have an enormous problem with that. We struggled with it in our conversation a lot. If you say no, the state tax dollars that you pay that contribute to this program, if you say no, they're 100% guaranteed to go to Abilene or Ottawa or Dodge City or somebody else who says yes to this. We get a little bit of a leverage factor if we say yes, but I do understand that it's not like the city's putting nothing into this. 31,000 is not zero.
Right.
So I think this, if you want to utilize this program, this is the only path that I see to win this specific thing. But I certainly wouldn't sit here and like stake my reputation on arguing that this is a rock solid thing like I've done in the past on a number of different grant proposals. I struggle with it too, but if you want to win this opportunity, I think this is the only way to do it.
I would say, and maybe put some other options here potentially to consider. The one is if you want to go for, I'll put it this way, kind of to reiterate what Justin said. If you want to go for this grant this year from the state to try to get this money from the state to start the program right away, I think that we should approve and go through Make My Move to make that happen. If you would like to wait a year, the bill did include funding for the next 2 years. Obviously, that is subject to change at the state level. If the program is successful, I'm sure they would like to keep it going. If it struggles this year, that money might disappear next year. So there's one option is to wait and try to put together our own program for next year and make a really compelling application and use as much of that money locally as possible. That's one option. Another option would be to take whatever the money would be for the match that we're planning on here, the same amount, a little more, something else, and try our own incentive program, smaller in scale because we don't have the state money to match it. Try our own incentive program, build that now, try to get 4 movers instead of 10 in the next year. And then if we have that in place, if the grant money is available next year, that would make that application even more compelling.
I don't think the math works out very good on this. If we got this 100 and, what is it, 100 and the whole amount that they could get us? 124,000
From the state? Yeah.
from the state. Okay, so if we take that 124,000, they're gonna keep all but 10,000 per person, right?
Sorry, say that last part
They're
again.
charging us $100,000 to
100,000.
administer a $124,000.
100,000 to administer 150.
Actually, it's more than 100,000 because they also had another, what was this other fee on here? I should have tied this together.
Content development.
What,
Content development.
You're not
That's
entirely wrong, but what you're not factoring in is the required local match, so.
Yeah.
Is it? It ultimately comes out
What we really
to.
get out of this
Yeah.
is not very much.
It comes out
This
to
company gets 124,000,
100,000. So
Another
it comes out
12,000
to
too.
it comes out to $50,000 of the combined funds would go into the actual moving incentive, funding movers to come to the city. The other money is for the national platform and the marketing and the advertising, which is certainly not free. So I totally agree with you. I'll say this is a reputable company. When I was moving in the last few years, I've heard of them. I've used their website. It is very user-friendly. You can get on there right now and look at Hutchinson's page, which is very professional, and they go out and they actively try to court people who are looking at moving. So if you go to Google right now and you say, I want to move to Mid-America, Make My Move is one of the top 2 results that come up. So on the one hand, that has value to it. Is it this value? That's kind of up to you. And
Wouldn't we have as much success drawing in this talented population by encouraging Benedictine College with their medical school or some of the other professional entities we have here, have those people encourage their top management people to to live here.
Absolutely.
Instead of paying somebody else to do it.
I totally agree.
People live where they want to live, and if somebody's got to pay me to live somewhere, that doesn't bode well to me. It looks like we're begging.
Well, this type of program really does work, just statistically speaking. A moving incentive to help pay for moving costs definitely does work for people who are actively looking for places to move. Indiana has had this program for many years, and they can show you, you can look up the numbers that they've seen success rates. I totally agree that I think that in some ways we're in a really unique position because of exactly what you said there, and our actual physical location, right? Because this program, so two things. First, this program targets movers from out of state. The state of Kansas wants people to move here from out of state. The state is not concerned if someone moves to Atchison from Lawrence, but we are. I'd love somebody to move here from Lawrence, right? I want people who want to live here, right? At the same time, we're really well positioned for the out-of-state as well, because there's not an insignificant number of people who work or do business in the city of Atchison who live right over the river in Rushville, Weston, Platte City. So I agree that there's probably a target base that we could use some of our own funds without the state money to go after. The point of the grant is that there's more money available if we can get it successfully from the state. Again, whether or not we try to rush it this year and get it, or wait, or something else.
I think we're going to buy stock and make my move.
That might be interesting. I guess for me, so what is it? It's 31,000 is what they are expecting for us.
Yes.
Okay, and with that 31,000, we then are going to be competing against other areas for this funding. So even with the 31,000, it is not guaranteed that.
Well, we won't pay if we don't get it.
Okay, we will not pay if we
We
don't
would pay
get it.
$0 if the grant is unsuccessful.
The grant's only
Okay.
$124,000.
To set aside some of my innate skepticism and kind of give you the best case scenario of what you're getting with that.
Yeah.
If you're in on the ground floor with a state program and you execute at a high level and have success, when they come back the next year, you're in the driver's seat to repeat as in a limited pool of resources. So if you win it the first time and you fill them like that, the next time it comes around, you're in that seat to claim it again. You have, even if somebody looks at it on there and say on the Make My Move site and the incentive is expired, it still is a nationally known sort of. Again, I'm setting aside some of my skepticism here for the sake of this. For the sake of this reel. And I do think it's not going to impose on any of the rest of us. This is a turnkey thing to hand it over to them. We've helped them fill out a little bit of paperwork and, fill in a couple of check boxes, and they'll deliver on 10 folks, and the profile of what those 10 folks look like, the state program is 55,000 plus income also. That's written into the legislation that authorized it.
Household income.
Yes. Which honestly is the median household income here. So another way of saying that would be above average median household income. But if we wanted to put some parameters on it that it's going to be for someone buying an infill new build house, for example, you can kind of let your mind wander about what potential things you could do there. That's it may not just be this year. Maybe it's really successful and it becomes more next year. Maybe they cut it. I don't know. But
So, a couple things. What is the state, what's their motivation? Is the population of Kansas down? Does anybody know that?
Yeah, overall.
All population.
So I would think some areas are hurting more than us. With our proximity to Missouri, Nebraska, and Iowa, that we would be a pretty good candidate for 10 new families. Is my math way off here? If we had 10 new families, will we not recoup 2/3 to all of that in tax money?
You'd recoup it all depending on how long they stay.
Yeah.
But
even
and then the economic impact, that's not even taking into account sales tax collection, economic impact in the rest of the city, right? We've talked a lot about that for a city like Atchison, position like we are, small amount of population growth is probably one of the key economic drivers going forward. A small amount of population growth usually leads to more businesses being opened. It leads to more patronage in the existing businesses. It leads to new jobs. So, I mean, all of that can really come from a reasonable amount of population growth. But to your point from earlier, the city is in a lot of ways set up for that
Right, with Benedict.
kind of naturally right now. I
think we are.
Setting aside that none of that is 100%, right? But I do think that we're positioned to succeed in this kind of way, whether we go after the grant money or do our own thing or you know.
Well, the question is, if you do our own thing, who's going to do it?
Right.
Yes, so
Let's just add one more thing.
dollars or time,
Do is
right?
put an incentive
I don't
Yeah.
think we ought to be doing it. I think people are gonna be coming here anyhow.
Well, we've been here for 200 years. I mean, they're not pouring over the bridge.
Well, I just think taking money from everybody that's here to give it to somebody to move here, that's just
What
whole
I'm saying is
thing.
you're going to get that money back fairly quickly through various forms of taxation.
I can't see that
From the
this
new
is gonna
family.
cause anybody to move to Atchison that isn't gonna move to Atchison.
Well, they've got it proven that it does.
I mean,
Most people do move to cities.
And are there,
Well, yeah, all you gotta do is just say, we got those 25 people, but how many of them was gonna move anyhow?
Well, I was,
If- go
some
ahead.
of that might be true.
Yeah, I think it's
Make my move, you know, their pitch and their platform is that they specifically gather in people who are interested in moving, and then they say, okay, well, your profile fits with this kind of place, and they give them the
Yeah,
list.
I
so
do want to be
has
clear.
anyone looked at a city that's the same size as Atchison or similar and used this program or something
It's new. It's
similar?
new, the whole
It's just,
program.
it's
Well,
completely new?
It's not a state thing, but like the city of Topeka has had a program the last couple of years. I don't know if it was funded by a community foundation or what. Like, this concept is gaining traction. But I do want to be clear that I would not be sitting here having this conversation unless there were a 80% leverage factor coming from the state
Yeah.
of Kansas. Like, the state legislature created this program. We're showing you the opportunity of what it would look like to have success with the cards that they've dealt us. And I get it either way. I really do.
Okay, okay.
I just don't think this thing's
I just
something
want
we
to
ought
make sure I
to do.
understand it now. The people that we would give the incentives to to move here,
Mm-hmm.
what is the maximum amount? Is it $50,000 that they would get to move?
No,
here?
they would get $5,000 for 10 movers, so that's the 50,000.
50,000.
In cash, but then we would put
Basically, Someone
together,
would have to move here, and their incentive would only be $5,000 to move here?
Yes, but
Correct.
the expectation is that you come up with some other
packages, you know, try to find
passes, whatever.
free passes to the
Kind of lifestyle
pool.
benefits.
Would you
Wait a
move
minute.
somewhere else for $5,000?
No.
Okay.
If,
But
but
we're looking at people who would.
But,
They're gonna move.
They would probably move in 2 more years to another place that's going to offer them
You
$5,000.
almost said something better.
I think
It
it's,
says here on the bottom, on this page 9 here, it
Yeah.
says $10,000 cost per mover at Target. We're talking about 10 or 5? I thought we were talking,
what page are you on?
page 9, the bottom line, mover volume Target. $10,000 cost per Target.
Generate 10
Per mover.
movers.
See, that's why I wasn't making this making sense.
Oh.
We're spending, if it's $10,000 per person, we're gonna subsidize them. That's $100,000, they get $100,000 for making it, and we're only getting a $125,000 grant. Something's not jiving there.
well, let me see.
I think this whole thing is just smoke and mirrors myself. I really do. I just don't like it at all.
If you,
that make
I'm
it
totally
clear?
fine with that. Like, I'm presenting to you
Yeah,
the
no, I
option
appreciate you doing it. I
and,
appreciate your looking into it,
and
but
additional
I-
options if you're not happy with
Yeah,
this
I'm just
or
thinking-
nothing. But
Okay, and if
Well,
I
give-
may,
excuse me.
oh, sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, given we're talking there in the earlier conversation about
Money.
reducing budgets.
well, this would not increase the budget, just to be clear. We have, if it's up to the commissioner's discretion, but we do have funds for this kind of thing, either, depending on where you want to pull it from, We can use some of the ARPA money that we have left. We've talked about various projects to use that on, including our IT upgrades that we're out for bid now. We can use some different grant funding that we've set aside in the budget that has not been used. We can potentially, see our way to using the land bank funds for it. There's a lot of flexibility with it, but it would not, funding this program would not increase
I wish
taxes.
Royce Fawcett would have stayed a couple more minutes, I would ask him if he felt like this would help his business at Stress Creek
Sure.
to attract a potential quality employee.
And that is one side.
If they need an employee, they ought to pay them that themselves. Why should they take it away from the taxpayers to give it? And I'm still not sure about, what is this $10,000
I don't understand that part of their proposal. It is,
And it was only $5,000.
Okay, all right, and then my question was, if we were to do this ourselves,
yes.
do we have staff to do this?
It's too late now.
Well, so as Justin said, we don't have the staff time to put in the grant application in time
This year.
to be successful this year. If they choose to fund this program next year, I think that we could put together a compelling application, obviously, in that time. He mentioned, though, if 10 other cities get the money and they're really successful and they say, roll it back, state might just say, all right, you all get the money again, and we're not in the running.
Or you do it
spread it
this year,
around.
and if
Yep.
it goes well, you say that's money well spent, or you could do it yourself
Wish they had been
in your
in
college.
college.
Right.
It's a bit of guesswork on what the state would do with this program next year,
Lots of
yes.
wishes and
Okay.
fishes.
All right, so what is our pleasure, because we do need to deal with this item, either we are going to move forward, or we are
I'm gonna
not.
move that we pass on it, instead of vote on it that way. Is that okay?
Okay, all right, so it's been
I'll second
moved. Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we do not authorize the grant application. All those in favor, please state by saying, I'm so sorry, do we have a question, any further discussion on this motion?
I mean,
Okay.
what you're saying, they're going to do this again next year. I mean, this isn't just a one
Well,
deal.
it's in the bill for next year, but they
2
can,
more years.
It's also not uncommon for things that exist at the state level
You get the-
to get the boot. And a lot of that gets negotiated at the budget bill at the end of the session at 2 a.m. with leadership of both sides in the governor's office. And there's no way to predict that until almost a year from
Even
now.
if that happens, it doesn't hurt you.
yeah, correct. Yep.
I would suggest just roll the dice and say, do it next time. Go from there.
All right, okay.
Well, I have a different feeling, but everybody gets their vote.
Okay, all right. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. I see the benefits of both.
Sure.
I'm a little concerned that this is something that was just put in. I'm concerned that Justin hadn't heard of it.
It came up very quickly.
Yes, sir. Can I speak on this one? Yes, if you would, please.
I still say you ought to buy stock in this company.
And could you state your name and?
Jonathan Fedler at 1627 Atchison Street.
Okay.
Asking for money for our taxes, and then you come up and you want to bring 10 people in town, that's like a kick in the teeth to us. Why can't we find grants to help the people that are in town that need houses fixed? Because I believe last year we had one, and then that money went to something else. I am a small construction company here in town. Me and my wife, we put a lot of money into this community without no one knowing. We fix their houses up because they can't afford it. It'd be nice to see the city put money into the people that are here instead of, hey, let's bring these people in, keep bringing people in, but the people that are already here are left behind.
But anybody, what is the program we currently have to?
Because we
rehab?
did have a program. Yes.
We have programs available right now for
Sorry.
We do.
that exact situation.
So we do have a handful of programs, and we have, we're actively working with CDBG to work on a housing improvement grant as well for the whole city. It's in process. Speaking to that though, if anyone in the city is interested in that kind of thing, we are gathering pre-applications right now for that grant funding. So it would cover up to $22,000 per property, up to 10 properties, I believe, Justin?
I think so, yeah.
For repairs, and, you know, it's specifically for low to middle income homes. So if anyone is interested in putting in a pre-application for that, they can talk to Justin or Curtis Wheeler, the code enforcement officer. He's putting those together. So first, we are trying. I will also add, though, that as I mentioned during the tax discussion, if the taxpayer pool gets larger, the tax burden per payer gets less. So by bringing in new taxpayers, we actually would be trying to reduce the per person tax. Does that make sense? Because of that revenue neutral rate. So there's a scenario where values go up on a per property basis, but the tax pool, the number of payers, also goes up, and so the revenue neutral rate doesn't fall like we were talking about before. And in that scenario, that means that more people are paying into the pool, and so there's less to collect the same amount of money for the city, everyone can pay less. Does that make sense? So we look at I understand what you're saying, and we do try to put together programs. I'm happy to put out more information on the programs we have, specifically in the city, and we go for lots of grants to try to increase infrastructure in the city. But I understand what you're saying.
I might say too, if I could unilaterally change the state law that created that program, I would do it.
Sure.
And then that 1.5 million that funds it statewide gets redistributed in theory to all of the state's taxpayers. But that's not an option that's
What
in
they
our
created.
control. I honestly would do that if I could unilaterally do it, but that's not one of the options in front of us, which is why this is kind of
Was it about 50 cents a person?
something like that, yeah.
Okay, all right, so then, to reiterate what you said, Mark, we do have a program, you both are.
Well, we have
taking-
multiple programs, but we are attempting to get a CDBG grant specifically for
Okay.
low-income housing improvements.
Okay, all right, and you're taking pre-applications
Correct.
now? And if individuals are interested, they should talk with Justin Prejean or Curtis Wheeler?
Correct.
Okay, will there be something on the website where people can go to the website?
We have it on the website. I'll
Okay.
re-up it, so it's at the top of the page.
Okay, very good. All right, any other discussion, any other questions on this motion? Again, this is a motion where we will pass on this grant opportunity entitled Home in the Heartland Grant Application and Vendor Agreement. If there's no further discussion, all...
Yes.
There was a
Yeah.
second. There was a second.
I second it.
Yeah,
Bill did.
Commissioner Murphy seconded, and Commissioner Slattery made the motion. All right, all those in favor, please state by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, same sign.
Aye.
All right, motion carries. We had one Vice Mayor Wilcox who opposed. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. And at this time, it's not printed, but commissioners, does anyone have any remarks at this time, going with Commissioner Greenlee? Remarks?
No.
Okay, Vice Mayor?
Everybody say a prayer for good weather for Amelia weekend, please. I don't care what religion. Say a prayer.
Okay, thank you, Vice Mayor, that is important. Commissioner, we're just going to go down the line. Commissioner Slattery?
Yeah, I'd like to congratulate Commissioner Wilcox on his new deck down there. I saw that. That's
No tax money involved.
Hopefully you got a rebate on it. This thing that the city prepared here is just an excellent explanation of taxing. I really think we should put that out.
I will. Yeah, I'll correct it.
This is just an excellent explanation of it.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Okay,
Picture of it in the globe.
okay. Commissioner Murphy?
I have nothing, thank you.
Okay, all right, very good. I will just echo both the vice mayor with Amelia Earhart. Please come out, support. We have the luncheon. We have a lot of different activities going on. We also have one of the best fireworks shows in the nation, which was voted on. So it's something that's very important for all of us. And also, I want to echo Commissioner Slattery's comments. Thank you very much for all of you for creating, I'll call it the one-pager, for creating this one-pager. It's very helpful. With that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second it.
All right, it's been moved and seconded that we adjourn. All those in favor, please state by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We are adjourned.
Didn't mean to give you a hard time.
Mayor, I have one item I need you to sign.
Thank you.
You want to be done? How are you?